Hello everybody! Today I wanted to talk about something really quick because to me this is something I'm actually kind of invested in and passionate about because I think it's stupid. I understand the premise of why people get so concerned about it and everything, but it is stupid. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why. This is so predictable for a progressive left-wing group. So, what they have is groups called So Informed. So Informed. And let me educate you, okay? I am far superior in intelligence and understanding of everything and how the world should work than you. So allow me to educate and inform you. You can tell it's the attitude they have. So, they say, on November 8th, voters in Alabama, Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont will have on the ballots their measures to amend their state constitutions, which is technically taking from the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Of course, their big issue they have is the fact that in it says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall be duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any other place, subject to their jurisdiction. It's a loophole allowing involuntary servitude for those in prison. Truth is, that is completely and utterly false. Because, technically, yeah, they could use it as a loophole for that, but 99.9% of prisons don't, other than probably Joe Arpaio's, because it's Joe Arpaio. 99% of other prisons in this nation and jails and all that don't do that. The reason why is because of the fact that they actually do pay them. Yes, they pay them very minimally. They pay them very, very little, but then again, they don't really have much to spend it on because, again, they're incarcerated, they're in prison, so. The thing that's so stupid about this is they don't stop and think any further than, oh, but that's involuntary servitude, it's slavery, because they're not employees, they're not paid workers, they don't have benefits and wages, and therefore it's slavery. If you ask an inmate, say, oh, I don't know, in Oregon, or even in California, like they've done when wildfires are absolutely out of control in our states in those summers, they'll go and interview some of them, and they'll ask them. They don't have any of the gear, by the way, that they need and that they should have. They don't have an oxygen mask, they don't have any kind of a mask. And then they get, like, axes and shovels. And things that are the most basic bitch shit you can imagine is all they really get. Yeah, that's all they usually get. That's all you'll see them have. And they're in charge usually unless they have the hose, of course. They're usually in charge of just simply clearing out brush piles back like 50 feet from roads and stuff like that, which is fire breaks. They're charged with creating fire breaks or breaking up stuff that's already burnt and getting it out of the way. Like, that's their jobs. They're paid very minimally, but they love it. When they're interviewed, you ask them, and they will literally straight up, and they always have. There's never once been an interview that's like, I fucking hate this as a slavery. They're like, we fucking love this. They're inhaling tons of smoke. They're getting absolutely ruined in terms of that aspect of their health, respiratorily especially. Probably eyes, because it's gonna burn the shit out of them. They're getting retardant in their eyes too, probably. All this other horrible shit. They're overheating, and they're working through it, and they do not care. They're just happy to not have to stare at 4 concrete walls and a set of metal bars all fucking day with the same fucking dumbasses that they have for fellow inmates in their prison. They feel fucking useful, and they know that they're useful and they're beneficial. They know that that work is appreciated, that they're useful and beneficial in that aspect. So, nobody thinks that much further. They just assume, oh, they gotta hate it. It's slavery. They have to know that. No, they love it. Every fucking one of them that's ever been interviewed in the history of our states loves that labor. It doesn't matter that they're missing everything they should have. And they're barely paid. They're just happy to be outside of their 3 concrete walls and bars and the concrete ceiling and floors actually fucking doing something for once. It does wonders for their mental health. It does wonders for their sanity and thus mental states and emotional states, you know, feeling fucking useful for once. Getting rid of a lot of that negative energy they might have if they're more of a violent type and they're more volatile. Think about it. Hard labor, grunt work, is perfect for those kind of people because they've been stuck, so they're like a caged animal with anger issues and all this other shit. Now they gotta do hard, heavy labor, grunt work, to get rid of and expulse and rid that negative energy that they've always had inside of them. It burns it away and it makes them less likely to do something stupid again, physically or whatever it is, with anger. They're less likely to act out. And again, they're learning skills. They're learning very fucking useful skills. They're helping everybody when they do jobs like wildfire fighting and all of that. Another aspect they're not thinking about and considering here is the impact this will have legally upon convictions that have community service attached. Amending this thing and getting rid of the ability to use them in any kind of a laborious situation, so now they're just stuck permanently for God knows how long their sentences are in the same fucking walls and metal facilities every fucking day of their life until they get out. They're not thinking about the aspect of the fact that it also would make community service illegal unless they make sure that's in a loophole where it doesn't apply to involuntary servitude, even though with community service they're not paid at all. They are paid for their labor, but they're not paid at all for community service labor because it's part of their sentencing. It's part of giving back to the community that you supposedly harmed with your crime. But that would technically make it illegal unless they're going to be hypocrites and make that an excusable one via loopholes. Another thing this does, and it fucks over certain people, is disabled people. Already here in Oregon, because it's typical Portland area, liberal, progressive people, they got so mad and they launched the hardest campaign to guarantee that they can counsel and prevent any chance of places that literally house and work with disabled people, especially mentally, like that of the Edwards Center. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the state of Oregon. My brother's worked for them since pretty much he became his own person after Hollywood Video. He stopped working for them. Those of us who remember Hollywood Video. That shit store, specifically the pizza popcorn, was amazing. Anyway, that's a sidetrack. The point I'm going to get at is the fact that after that he's worked for the Edwards Center ever since. He's always worked with these people. Some are physically disabled, some are mentally, some are both. Some are mentally retarded, whether you want to call it Down syndrome or whatever the fuck the rebranded terminology is again. A lot are autistic at various different points in the spectrum. A lot of them are very autistic, so low functioning because they're very non-verbal and all that. He's worked with so many different people like that. And the joy that these workers get from seeing their people that they're caretaking for gets when they get to do a job for minimum wage or whatever the heck the wages are that they get, with no benefits or whatever. It's part-time because they probably couldn't handle longer than that. And again, they work with these companies because they know that these companies know, and these people obviously know their own people, so they know and they work with them, and they form this, they forge this partnership where they'll employ a bunch of, say, the artistic people, because the artistic people need a lot to do because they're very brainy people, obviously, autistics. And so there's always a niche that autistic people are obsessed with, that they're so fucking good at, that they get tunnel vision focus on, if you give them the ability and the tools to apply that obsession, so to work that thing. In this case, a lot of times it's hardware, specifically semiconductors and stuff. And well, we're the Silicon Forest, so of course there's a lot of that job to be done. So they had a partnership with the company that allowed these people to come in, get their pages, get their full pay for part-time work, working on this assembly line for, I believe it was circuits or semiconductors. They loved it. They felt so good. They were so happy, and they could finally have money to spend on their family and get them gifts or take them to lunch instead of them taking them to lunch instead, and even getting gifts for their, the people who take care of them and everything. They were such happy people that they could finally be useful for once and not just live inside of their own box called a house, a home, a care home for the rest of their fucking lives without, ever being able to be useful or do anything. They loved it. But all these crusaders, these supposed liberal progressive crusaders from the Portland area, came down like frickin' Thor's hammer on top of it and made it, forced I think it was the city or the state's hand to say, okay, well then you're not allowed to do this anymore. And like my brother said, and like he said, a lot of the other workers said, is that they were just as devastated as these people were that were working, that were, they're caretaking, because these people that they were caretaking were so fucking devastated when they found out they couldn't go to work. They were so excited to get up to work next day, but they couldn't, and then they had to drop that bomb on them. It's like their entire happiness just fell through the face of the earth again, and now they're just back to being barely functional people. That's another aspect of this that nobody thinks of, because nobody in this country likes to think any further than surface value. They're just like, what's right here, right now, in this very moment that I care about? That, okay. Let's not think any further than this. Let's just say this is how it is, and then go from there and implement whatever this is, or de-implement, remove and make illegal whatever this was, because we currently have a feeling about this thing at the surface, tip of nose value, not even face value, what we see, therefore it's wrong, or it's evil, and we gotta get rid of it, or it's great, we gotta do it. And then, because they didn't actually look and investigate, it goes to shit, because they're morons. So I wanted to talk about this because this shit I feel is one of the most important things out there. You gotta allow people to feel fucking useful, and you gotta allow them to learn their fucking skills. They can't do it if you're doing stupid shit like this all the fucking time. This is not okay. So if you think that your votes actually count, or you even have a hope that they do, I would actually ask you to vote no on these things. Don't let these amendments happen, because otherwise community service will probably be illegal too. These prisoners that get so much skill and so much value and so much benefit, that benefits all of us too, out of being able to put to labor or even to community service, is so stupid. It's actually going to create worse situations for these people, and it's going to make them feel less useful, less cared about, and it's going to degrade their mental health further and more, and make them feel less cared about because it proves that they're less cared about, and so on and so forth. And it's just not okay. And then on top of that, it's going to screw over all of these people who are, again, like mentally disabled and physically disabled, especially mentally disabled people, specifically, like those that would be in a care facility like an Edward Center. So it's just really unfortunate and upsetting and sad. And it just needs to, this kind of bullshit needs to stop. Stop being dumbasses. Actually support these people. If you really care and you really want to rehabilitate them or make them feel useful, let them fucking feel useful and do their fucking labor. Oh yeah, and a point I probably should have mentioned early on with the prisoners is convicts get asked to volunteer, and if they want to volunteer, for specific laborious jobs outside of the prison, like wildfire fighting. They don't just arbitrarily go and say, you, come on. They ask, hey, do you want to feel useful? Do you want to fucking do something, you have some labor, and get outside of the fucking prison for once? Yeah? Okay, great. You're going to fight wildfires. You're going to clean out sewers. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. They ask. The only ones they don't ask are the ones that aren't paid, aka the people who got charged with community service. It's fucked up, and this perspective needs to be crushed. Alright, there you go. See you later.